Let's do it. Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 162 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy over there on your other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the podcast. It's a welcome back to one of the OGs. It's Cam Blake from Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, mate.
Hey, mate. How you going? I thought you just said it's 162, isn't it? Not 161? It is 162, isn't it? Yeah, you said 162.
Good.
Is that right?
162. Yes, it is.
Now.
It's episode 162 of the Down South. Are we doing this again? No, anyway.
No, I'm not doing it again. When you said that, I'm like, I know we just spoke about it 5 seconds ago. It just didn't sound right. Hello. How you going?
Yeah, grouse. Thank you. Tip top.
Tip top.
Getting closer every day to a full recovery from my shenanigans that you're about to venture on yourself.
Yes. This time tomorrow, I'll be probably in a shit spot. No, I'll be all right. It's like all happens tomorrow morning. Well, actually, tomorrow lunchtime, I get a bit of a sleep in tomorrow, so
mate, how good.
I'm going to try and milk it for as much as I can.
Damn straight.
Breakfast in bed. Maybe have a nurse come and shower me.
What are the chances of the breakfast in bed?
Oh, about as much chance as Melbourne winning the grand final this year, I reckon.
Melbourne beating Hawthorn on Saturday.
Are we playing on Saturday?
We are. It's our little rivalry clash.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, we're in good form. We've come off a 90-point win or something.
Yeah, you are.
And your team
we've won 3 in a row. Come on. We're going all right. Yes. We're going
3 in a row.
3 in a row.
So I just realized my phone was off silent. That could have got ugly.
That could have got ugly very quickly. So you'll be getting your surgery tomorrow. This is fun. It's been a few episodes where all we've done is talk about surgery.
Yeah, we've gone from being a golf show to a footy show to a camera show to getting sliced open show. It's great.
Well, that's right. Exactly. Yeah. It's
I get mine done tomorrow. I've got about 2 weeks off, just under 2 weeks off before we head down to the Great Ocean Road. So I think I'll be okay. You're assuring me, you're giving me the thumbs up that I'll be okay for that. So
yes, I think you'll be totally fine. And if you're not, we'll get you through it, mate. We only need your brain and your voice. That's all. You can just sit in a bus otherwise.
You know what? That's happened before with an instructor. They had a migraine. I had a migraine for the last 2 days and left me to deal with it, which is fine. But we'll pull together between the two of us. Surely we can create one photography brain.
Yeah, we should be. Barely. We'll give it a go. Thanks to everyone who's liked, followed, and shared, and all that stuff with the channel. Ticking up to 1,255 subscribers on the YouTubes and a fair few on the audio version as well. Shout out to Adam Edwards, who stepped in beautifully last week, and
he did
big boots to fill, but he had a crack at it, and very well received podcast, Cam.
It was. It's rating very well. I would have thought we might have got a few more subscribers from it, but.
We did.
I'm not one to complain too much, but it was good.
We definitely did. Adam, don't listen to him. You did get a few more. The numbers ticked up nicely.
I did have a listen. It was great. It was I know Adam a little bit. We probably both don't know him that well.
No, that's right.
We've met him a few times.
We got to know him better by doing it. So
absolutely. And I thought, he spoke really well, and I think his outlook on community and doing photography for all the right reasons was spot on. So he's one of the good ones, which is good. He checks his ego at the door. He just loves his photography. He loves taking people to lovely places, and he enjoys what he does. So it was good. He can come back again.
That shone through in spades. There's a card up there if you want to go and watch that episode. I've just put one there for you. And yes, cards do work. They
do work. I saw that on the other episode. I almost fell off my chair.
Blow you down with a feather.
Shit, he's actually by Jingo, by Joe, he's done it.
And with that in mind, we have got another couple of guests lined up down the track as well. So,
did you want to talk about that? Do you want to?
No. We don't give guests away until they're actually in the can, as we say, and we can.
Can we give a hint?
Sure.
One of them is going to be a first for the show.
That's true. That is true. Yep. There you go. I like that.
That'll be good.
We need to talk about our comp for April, which finished because it's now May.
Yes.
It's May 2025. Can you believe that? So
I
the
can.
comp for April and the theme was glass. Cam has just told me there was around 40 odd entries, well, not odd entries, but there was 40 or so entries, which is great to see. Tough, bit of a challenging theme, really. So
It was a tough theme,
Hmm.
but people have really risen to the occasion.
Okay.
Obviously, the theme was glass, but there's some really interesting ones. It's going to be a tough one.
Yes.
And you know how we sort of say, oh, if there's two of the same place or shot, that you sort of don't, they sort of cancel each other out. I can't see anything like that here.
Okay.
So we've got like 40 odd entries we have to look at them all.
Which we will, and
which
next
of
week
course we always do.
Yeah, we'll have a winner for you next week on the show. So,
absolutely.
So don't go over to our Facebook page and enter, because you can't anymore. But next week you'll be able to go there and select the People's Choice winner, which we will do.
And then in a couple of weeks we'll announce what the April, May, June competition will be.
Goodness me, how can we be thinking about June 2025 already? So, and also, just while we're here, if you would like to head over to dsps.com.au and join us on one of our workshops, there's plenty of spots available. Plenty of spots. There's no spots available. What am I talking about? There's one spot available for the Great Ocean Road. Now, that happens on the 19th of May.
Yeah,
so that would be
what you finger out.
Call them impulse buy. So, but hey, the information's all there. He says,
what about a last minute discount, like late last minute discount? Hit us up with an email.
Talk to us, or maybe one of us could offer you a nice little canvas print on top as a incentive of one of your favorite photos of your trip down the Great Ocean Road.
Yeah. So, and then we've got Tark on the Cradle later in the year.
Yes. So there's still places left on that.
Yeah, a few more places left on that. 3 places. And then we'll start plugging out the 2026 stuff soon. Yeah. You know what I did today? I spent 3 hours, almost 2 or 3 hours, sorting out my New Zealand trip for next year, accommodation, hire cars, starting to get the ball rolling with the permits and the licensing and all that kind of stuff. And time flies when you're busy.
Yeah, it does.
I sat down for like what I thought was going to be a 30-minute exercise. Turns out it wasn't.
Well, what happens on Sunday, Cam?
Sunday. It's a pretty important day, probably the most important day on the calendar.
Yeah, it's one of, definitely.
Yeah. So, is it Mother's Day?
Hello to all the mums who are watching.
Or people acting in place of mums.
True, exactly.
Yeah.
So everyone who is mothering, and I hope you enjoy your Mother's Day here in Australia. I think it's only Mother's Day in Australia. I think it's Mother's Day in other parts of the world have Mother's Day on different days. But enjoy your Mother's Day. So what I've been doing, and what I will be doing for the next 3 or 4 days, because we're recording this on a Tuesday, is printing Mother's Day photos. So people will be coming in with their nice family photos, put them in frames, doing canvas prints, that sort of stuff. So
it's a lovely gift, isn't it? The photo for mum.
It's ideal, really.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of ever one mum opening a great family photo and going, what'd you give me that for?
Oh, but they'd always go, oh God, look how fat I am, or look at my wrinkles, or look at my hair, or geez, look how old I look. Like there'd always some feedback, wouldn't there? But
well, not if I've printed it. They always look fabulous in the photos that I print.
Do you remember that Seinfeld episode where George steals the picture out of the guy's office, and he had it? Yeah. He picked on the guy at the beach a few years earlier. Had a run in with the guy at the beach, right. And he's in the back of the photo, and he goes to the local camera shop to get him photoshopped out. Yes, and it comes back looking like a cartoon.
Yeah, that's right. I
was just picturing that's how the pictures you print might look. It's just they just turn them into
cartoons. Well, it's kind of what AI looks like now. So it's
it is. Although ahead of their time, it was AI stuff.
So we've got some topics to discuss tonight, Cam. Did you get a look at the run sheet, or
only about 3 seconds ago? But I thought we might have been talking about the federal election, but clearly not.
No. Do we have to? No, we don't talk politics. That's one. Let's just ban politics off this show altogether.
Well, it's funny you say that. The last few workshops I've done, based on the one we did in Utah where we had a little bit of fun, as you would remember, most of my workshops now start with a bit of a different intro chat about being respectful for each other and just being nice. And there's three topics that are off the limits on these workshops. One is politics, the other is religion, and the third one is sexual orientation or anything to do with genders or anything like that. Just keep it off the table.
Yeah.
We just came back from a macro workshop, we left Sheffield. We hadn't even got out of the main street of Sheffield, and all 3 had been touched on in my car. Amazing. The Pope had died, the federal election, and there was something about something else.
Goodness.
So, yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about? Apart from
no. Well, before we do that, how remiss of me. We've got to do photo of the week.
Okay, I'll tell you. You go first.
Oh, okay.
Because you're not ready, are you?
Yeah, no, I've got it.
Oh wow, look.
Yeah, the technology is amazing. This is a Nanking.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I've showed this photo before. I probably have because I love it. This was on the Great Ocean Road trip last year, so that's why I'm showing it now, because we're going on Great Ocean Road again in a couple of weeks. So there's a couple of things I love about this photo. One is it's a Nanking Kestrel, and I got to shoot it within relatively close range. Yes. 2, that thing is perched on probably the greatest lookout in Australia. That if I could pan left there, you're looking straight over the 12 Apostles. So
yeah,
it was really cool to be able to see that bird just sitting there, and it just hung around for quite some time.
Can you hear that wind in the background? My God, it's so windy down here in Hobart tonight.
You're gonna blow away on us.
Well, possibly. It was a beautiful moment, and he did have a good view, didn't he? He had everything out to the left there, and I don't think he was there to take photos. I think he was looking for a bit of food, but he did perch there, and he came back a few times, and he posed for photos. He even looked at the camera. We said, "Look down the barrel," and he turned around and looked down the barrel. And perfect shot. It was lovely.
Nah, it was a great spot there. And for those of you who are interested, that's shot on a OM system EM1X.
EM1X with a 100-400. There you go. I remember that lens. I remember the moment.
My go-to setup for those kind of shots, and that will be coming with me on the Great Ocean Road as well. Got a little story to tell you in a minute too. But anyway, let's go to. Is your photo of the week the first one that's there, or
is that the one with the little avenue tree? That one. That's the one.
Look at that.
This was just last week up in beautiful, bright Alpine, Victoria.
Wonderful.
Someone a dinosaur upstairs. And the normal avenue of trees is that main road. And we had a few of us on that little, what do they call it, that rescue bit in the middle, the rescue island or the
refuge island.
Refuge, that's the one. We had a few shooting up the main street with a longer lens, getting that nice shot. But off to the side, we started talking about, shifting our depth of field and our focal point. So creating some nice framing, shooting through the branches of the leaves and shooting further down the avenue. And this one just turned out it was a bit of a fluke, actually. I was just trying to teach a few people, if you move that focal point, this is how you can really frame things up. And that green leaf just framed it up perfectly. And I went, oh, okay, that sort of worked. So the color up and bright this year was insane. Like we hit the jackpot, smack bang in the middle of it. There was a few other photography groups up there going on. So we had good old Matt Crummins, and we had and Jeff Freestone, and we had Mika Boynton, who resides up there. So there was 4 legendary photographers running around with legends of customers taking photos. But I had a few other photos I put down there I might show once we talk a bit further. But this is my pick of the bunch for that week. It was really nice.
No, we're showing them right now, mate.
Oh, right now. Yeah. Okay. That was our first morning in Mount Buffalo.
It's a terrible spot, isn't it?
Oh, it's shit house. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Unless you come on a workshop with myself, Matt, Jeff, or Mika. But no, we had a really nice morning that first morning. It wasn't that cold, but we just had this beautiful fog in the valley, which just caught the sunlight, which is amazing. So I don't know how many times I've done this shot, and every time it just looks great. I have warmed this up a bit with a little bit of extra warmth in there, because it sort of looked like it needed that warmth to it, just to get a bit of that
give you the golden glow.
Yeah. So we had great weather up there. We had the last photo I'll show you was probably one of the most insane sunsets I've ever seen up that way. But we had a good time. That was a great morning. And then the next day we headed up high into the Dinner Plain and got some snow gums and the old huts. This is JB Hut. It's about a 2-second walk off the main road. It was really weird.
How cool are they? Look at that thing.
I'm telling you now, we, as in DSPS, need to do an alpine high country huts tour in the winter or early winter or late winter. That's got to be one of our next workshops we put together, because there are so many cool huts up there, some amazing snow gums, incredible, locations to go. We had emus at the back of this one. There was another herd of emus hanging about the back, but it was funny. This one we had this fog rolling through every sort of 5 to 10 minutes. this little bit of fog would come through. We're like, oh, quick, get a shot, and then just like that, it'd clear.
Well, that's great. That's sublime conditions, really.
It was really good. And then one of the last sunsets we got, which is the one I'm going to put up next, off the top of Mount. This is off Denny's Lookout. It was at one of the. This is where you took that shot of BFOP when you did the big bus tour with Charlie. But on that side of the mountain, all day it had been clear, and on the back side of the mountain, it was all where the weather was, and it just got to the point right on sunset where that weather just creeped over the top of the ranges. Yeah, and we did 3 sunsets on the way down. This one, and then the cloud dropped. We drove about 5 minutes down the road, got a couple hundred meters lower, and it was the same again. Then the cloud dropped, and then we went again, and the cloud dropped. So we kept going underneath the cloud level for about 35 minutes or so. But this was just dancing around with light. It was incredible.
Yeah, isn't that brilliant? Everything just being lit up like that, magic.
It was crazy. And then right in the middle of the frame, I've got a couple of other photos that I'm still editing. This big wedge-tail eagle just decided to soar around in the rays of light, and I'm like, oh shit, wide angle, need long lens, wide angle, is all over the place. So. But Bright was incredible as always. So it always delivers.
Yeah, it is a good spot up there. That weather rolling in, as you say, gives me PTSD because we were up there when that magic aurora was happening.
Yes,
and that exact thing happened. The weather just rolled over the hill, and it was curtains down.
we may have mentioned that a few times. It may have been mentioned by Matt a few times. We kept crossing paths with Matt's group. Which is on that day we were sort of zigzagging between each other, which is great. We ended up having dinner together as 2 big groups, which was lovely. We got to meet all his guests and vice versa. But we did mention that that had happened. But better luck this year.
Just the thing with Matt Crummins, and I'm not here to blow smoke up anyone's butt, but he would have to be one of Australia's hardest working photographers in terms of the whole scope of things. So he takes a crap ton of photos. He works commercially. He does underwater stuff, and his workshop schedule is next level. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. Yep,
phenomenal. Like even between now and the end of the year, he's probably got another 50 workshops to do.
Yeah.
Like it is absolutely crazy.
I actually think he's an identical twin.
So you think it's 2 of them?
I don't think you can do all that by yourself.
You think there's Matt and there's Crummins?
Maybe.
Yeah, see? That's
maybe.
What it is.
Yeah. He does a lot. And he's
it's a shame he's such a jerk, but otherwise everything's great.
Well, he's a complete wank, total wank. But he means well, and he runs BFOP, so we've got to be nice to him. So if we don't be nice to him, he might kick us out.
He is one of the industry's good guys. So
he is.
Shout out.
He is.
Kudos to Matt if you're watching. He'll be watching.
Have we had him on the show before?
We have. I'll put a card up there for the Matt Crummins interview that I did.
More cards. What about there? If I keep doing this, is this going to confuse you when you need to do it?
Talk about making a rod for my own back. No,
yeah.
Cam, tonight I thought we'd talk. Sorry, can I get into the topics, or you got something else to add?
Yeah, right. I was just going to hang more shit on Matt. That's fine.
Okay, well, let's not do that. I thought we'd have a bit of a fresh look at some stuff, and that is mistakes that photographers make. And I've made a list of 5 things. Now, feel free to add to that list, Cam, because you haven't really looked at it too much. But these were the 5 things that sort of sprung to mind. And also, I must admit, doing a bit of Google searching as well. Particularly the top 2 seem to be the 2 that sort of resonated the most with people. So we're going to run through these in no particular order. But the first thing we want to start with is this over editing thing that seems to be a very common thread through a lot of photography podcasts and tuition and that sort of stuff.
Right.
What's over editing? What do you think over editing is?
Well, over editing. I used to be quite critical on this. Maybe I'm softening in my old age, but I used to look at some. Over editing for me is oversaturation, anything that's slid in your sliders too far either way. Is to me a little bit over editing. But that can also apply to things that are cropped really heavily. Like you've used the wrong lens, so you want to crop in like crazy to get that shot that you probably could have got if you just took your lens off and changed it. But over editing to me has always been, I guess to me visually, it's always probably been the color being overdone.
Yeah.
Some things like you can have grungy shots, like black and white can be quite grungy with contrast and stuff like that. But to me, it's always that color slider or saturation that's gone too far that does it for me. And the dehaze can ruin your shots going too much. But would you think that you'd probably see a lot of different editing in your role because you get lots of people sending stuff into you? So
I do. I think it has not stopped, but it's certainly gotten a lot better over the last probably 10 years. Prior to that, there was this thing that came out, I want to say it'd have to be 15 years ago, and that's HDR, high dynamic range images.
Yes.
And it became a real trend. And certain images worked fine with HDR. To this day, some images work well with HDR. The problem I found was everyone used it on everything. And you would end up with inherently you would get oversaturation using HDR. You would get really high contrast images, raised blacks, that sort of stuff, which, as I said, worked for certain images. But there was a lot. I definitely remember there was a few Flickr accounts that were getting masses of followings from people because they were using these HDR settings. But I'm happy to say that has sort of softened a bit. In my opinion, when we talk about over editing, it's obvious over editing. It's when, as Cam said, when you see, a sunset that's beyond purple, like it's red, purple, and that sort of stuff. And we see it a lot in Aurora season as well, when people just push it that little bit too. Now, Auroras, you have to edit them. That's just part of the game. Without editing, you don't get as good a result. There's no question. But you can easily overcook an Aurora photo. So,
yes, you can.
But we also preach, the old season to taste. Like, you want it, it's your image. So do with it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But just be conscious of the fact that it's very, very easy to overstep the mark in terms of crossing into the realm of a fake looking image.
Yeah, look, I think that's where I've softened a bit over the years. I used to look at, there was one particular guy down here in Tassie who shall remain nameless and end up moving away from Tassie. He had an absolute shocking eye for color, and he over edited his colors, not only the saturation, but the hues. He got the hues all wrong, and he made good photos turn terrible. And he had some good compositions and some good photos, but completely ruined by his editing style of over saturating and over contrasting and HDRs and changing hues and things like that. But having said that, now, like, I guess on the other flip side, who are we to judge? Well,
this is my point.
Yeah, if someone wants to edit their photos to the nth degree of clown vomit, then go for it. That's your photo. And I think you can talk about over editing, I think it's very important with what you do with printing. Like, if you're over editing colors and contrast, they don't print very well at all. So that's important to understand, that if you're wanting to print things like calendars, books, or prints for people, that over editing your image is probably going to overdo it for the print as well. So, but yeah, I'm of the opinion now, I've been in too many social media fights about editing and commenting on people's stuff and trying to give advice and getting shot down. So edit how you like. Just don't come complaining when you can't print stuff, or, people are turning away from your work. And
probably the only other stone I would throw there would be a departure from a natural look. So, and it can be a tricky one because, I've seen, there was a sunrise here 2 mornings ago that would look like your jumper. It was so red, like it was crazy red. Of course, I was sound asleep, but Adam
did it glow up your room, light your room up?
It actually, the lounge did, yeah. When Adam Stan, who's a local photographer down here, posted a couple of drone shots that he got from over at Barwon Heads, and there was a couple of comments of that really, but it was a strikingly red sunrise.
Yeah,
which is one thing, but it's another thing when you've got a shot of a waterfall and you've made the leaves around the waterfall or the ferns or whatever look fluorescent green, like that light behind you. So
yes. Well, that's what this guy down in Tassie used to do. His waterfall greens around the ferns all used to look like that green. It just didn't look right.
Yeah, and a person that visits that waterfall is not going to see that. That's because it doesn't exist. So there's that crossover.
But are we being too Nancy? Like, is it just a matter of, okay, move on? I don't like that style of editing. I don't like what you've done. And do we just move on? I find it hard to move on because I like to try and help people, and I think I can see ways to help improve. But
I think the majority of people wouldn't want that look, and they might accidentally do it.
Yeah, I know, but it's a tough one to address with people. It's the old shit sandwich analogy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go, that's a great photo. I really like the composition, but your colors are completely whack. But I like what you've done with the framing. It's like it's a hard one.
Quite often I give people a bit more breathing space or a bit more room to move because they may not have a calibrated monitor, for one.
Yes.
Their perception of color might be different to mine. They could very well be colorblind and not know it. And I've seen this happen. So, well, not totally colorblind, but their perception of reds and greens and yellow, it might be different to ours. So there's also that as well. But anyway, let's move on. Number 2, forgetting your gear and buying the wrong gear that you've added there.
Oh yeah, so I've
put a whole episode 2 episodes ago.
No, but I've put a couple of, like, you've done yours, and I've sort of done my matching bits of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But forgetting gear is a real bugbear of mine. I mean, it's like there's no excuse for that, and it's a big mistake that photographers make. Getting to a location and just not thinking a little bit about what might be available to them at that location, and therefore, I don't really feel like carrying that lens today. I'll leave it in the car, and bang, there's a Nanking Kestrel sitting on a lookout over 12 Apostles.
Yeah. Well, that's where my little bit is buying the wrong gear, because I think forgetting your gear directly relates to buying the wrong gear, because if you have those heavy lenses and that heavy equipment, heavy tripod that you don't like to use, the filter system that you hate to put together, or the real heavy lens system, you will forget that gear either purposely or subconsciously. You'll forget it because you hate using it so much that you're just going to go, you know what, I'm just going to leave it at home. Oh, look, I forgot to bring my big long lens. Oh, well, I'll learn from that. But yeah, you're right. There's no excuse for forgetting gear, especially for things that we do. Like we give people a good list of what they should bring on the trip. And, we're going to do a bit of this, with a bit of that, and a bit of this. So if you rock up after having a list given to you what to bring and you still forget something, that can cause you a lot of issues, especially, like you said, when you get like nice birds or something amazing happening, you've got the wrong lens for it. So
yeah, that's right.
Excuse me, I just sneezed. Sorry about that.
Bless you. It's
I'll do that tomorrow.
It is a no-brainer, but it's amazing how many people forget to do it, and it's a nice, easy one to add to this list, and that is just forgetting your gear, forgetting to charge your camera, forgetting forgetting a memory card, forgetting to format a memory card, forgetting a filter. It's endless. There's so many. Forgetting a cleaning cloth, forgetting a rain cover, forgetting a rain jacket, all that stuff. So
yesterday we finished up our macro workshop at Cradle, and we went to a place called Philosopher's Falls, which is about half an hour or so from Cradle, near Waratah, and it's generally pretty good for fungi and things like that. And I totally forgot to charge my batteries the night before.
Oh dear.
So I get to this place, and I had one camera, the OM3, which I got some news on for you. I had that as my sort of doing my forestry shots, like big trees and stuff. And I had my OM1 Mark I with the macro flash and everything like that. So I was taking photos of these mushrooms, and that's great. Oh, look at this big myrtle, take a photo of that. And almost simultaneously, both batteries just went, meh. I went, what? I'm like, no, they can't be dead. I'm only like half a way through this track, and like, shit. So I ran out of battery pretty much. I had to keep turning it back on and getting like 2% to take a photo, turn it back off. It was a complete shit show. But yeah, so I did that. I didn't plan very well, and I forgot to charge my batteries.
Well, that's one massive change in technology that's been very well welcomed, and that is USB charging, because then carrying a power brick is, an easy get out of jail free card, which he just bought one.
You know what? I was going to do a plug on this show. Like, these are the Anker 20,000 milliamp battery chargers. Fantastic. They look just like a brick, and you got USB charge on the bottom. $33 from Amazon at the moment. Ridiculous. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Hopefully they're still on that sale when we go to air on Friday. Amazon, $33. They're Anker, ANKER 20,000 milliamp charger, $33. Can't go wrong.
Amazing. Fantastic.
This show is not sponsored by Amazon.
No, it's not. The third mistake that people make, one mistake that people make is forgetting to add the actual little thing that I had organized. See, look at that.
Look, you got little things down the bottom.
Yeah, and I left them off for the first two. But anyway, the third one is failing to plan, ironically enough. So
could you have planned that any better? That's hilarious.
Thank you very much.
For those listening at home, Brendan's trying to put like little logos on the bottom of the screen for each point. So over editing one, forgetting your gear number 2, he's forgotten those first two, and the number 3 one that he remembered was failing to plan.
I'm still getting my head around this platform. I'm doing okay with it, but I'm going to have teething problems, and that's fine. Cam, when we talk about failing to plan, what do we mean?
Failing to plan would be, hey, I'm going to go up Mount Wellington here in Hobart for a sunrise. The sun rises at 7 o'clock. I reckon if it's about 30-minute drive, I'll leave at 6:45. I'll get up there for sunrise. No, leave at 6. Get up there at 6:30. Give yourself half an hour for the sunrise, the light before, all that kind of stuff. Or you're going down to do a coastal shot, and you might think of wearing some really nice clothes, and you're going to get wet. Not a good idea. So that'd be my failing to plan issues.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, checking the weather is the big one. Just particular. I mean, we talk a lot about landscape, and we are predominantly a landscape show. People who forget to have a look at the weather forecast, it kills you. Hey, I drove all the way to the 12 Apostles, and it rained the whole time. Really? Did you look at the weather?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We up in Bright, we had a sunset over the Bright Township at Huggins Lookout, and I actually planned to go there because there was a bit of a storm rolling in. There was some rain rolling in, and everything went to plan. We got the storm coming. We actually got the shot of the rain sort of hitting the town, all lit up by backlight. So I planned it really, really well for the group. 3 people sat in the car because it was raining. Missed the shot. I went, oh no, and get out of the car. They're like, oh, I'm worried about my gear. I'm like, don't worry about your gear. It's a little bit of rain. It's going to be okay. Yep. Bang, light goes off. They're all jumping out of the car. So that's where my second part comes to it. I'm not calling my customers this, but being lazy is one of the things that, and we're all guilty of it. Every single one of us is that we have an idea in our head. We want to go somewhere to get an amazing shot, and we don't plan properly, and then we just get a bit lazy about it, or we don't do the effort to get to where we got to go and just turn back halfway and miss the great shot. So easiest way to improve your landscape photography is not being lazy.
Yeah, and the hardest part is showing up. So get out there, folks. Absolutely. Number 4.
Press the button. Yep, that's it. Good.
Check all settings. Now, this is an easy one for me because it happens to me all the time. And that is when you get your camera out, just have a quick scan over your settings. Now, most cameras have got a quick menu where you can actually see it all on one screen. Your ISO, your white balance, your what mode you're in, all that sort of stuff. Where you're focusing, where you're metering, all that, like metering modes, spot metering, average, all center weighted, all that sort of stuff. I'll give you a little story, Cam. Today, I went on a photo shoot, and I got paid to do it. Yeah, I know, right? Weird. There's a local optometrist.
Was it the School of the Blind? I was going to say, it's the optometrist, close.
The local optometrist needed to update the photos for their website. So they've got
so many jokes.
They've got new staff, and so they've got it, and their website's 10 years old. So we had to get new photos of the staff and just shots around the optometrist with glass and people serving and all that sort of stuff. And of course, I got my camera out and took the first shot and looked at it and just went, because I always do a test shot because I'm a professional, and it's just like, what the hell? And this is how long since I'd taken a photo because I had my surgery as well. My camera was still set to when we did that silo at night at the Mallee.
Really?
So yeah, you can imagine the settings.
Yeah. Yes. So it was like, was it like shooting in the 1800s where they had to all stand still and can't smile for 30 seconds?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It was. Yeah. Hang on, I've got to do a 30-second exposure in here just to hold.
Please hold.
Yeah. So checking all your settings before you take your photo. Now, Cam, you've got a very famous story of having some shots at a million ISO in one of Tasmania's most pristine location.
Yeah, I climbed the highest mountain in Tassie and shot everything at 3200 ISO. Couldn't figure out why the shutter speed at f16 was like 4,000th of a second. And I got back down and went, geez, those photos look a bit grainy and a bit overdone. Yeah, so we'd been shooting the Milky Way the night before, and I'd done the same thing I hadn't changed my settings, got up the top, didn't do anything. took a couple of photos. You know what? It's funny you say that though, because the other day Jamie and I walked up Mount Murchison to get those Vegas shots that we got.
Yeah.
And my legs were a bit weak. It was a pretty big climb, and I was a bit unfit and all that kind of stuff. And got up the top, put my bag down, and straight away we're just surrounded by that beautiful color of Vegas. And I went, all right, let's go start taking shots. And in my head, I went, hang on a sec, check my settings. I have walked up this bloody hill. I'm not going to stuff this up. Check my settings. So that was a good one. So
sorry, you go.
No, yeah, okay.
It literally is a case, as you've put on the run sheet here, of not knowing your camera. Yeah. So you should be able to, at a glance, know the settings of your camera and know how to bring the quick menu up, for example, or a menu area of your camera where you can see all the settings at once and literally go, oh, that's out, fix that. You should know how to do that. And there's really no excuse there, because you can sit on your bloody couch and do it. Like it's not like you have to be out on a photo shoot to change your settings. No. I say this in my entry-level workshop. Sit on your couch, put a bowl of fruit or something on a coffee table and shoot it and change the settings. And it's not the photos you'll delete. That doesn't matter. What you're doing is you're showing what the settings do, where they are, and how to change them. And you should really almost be able to do that with your eyes shut. So then you don't make simple mistakes, very fixable mistakes.
Dickhead mistakes. Something else that I think we don't utilize enough with us photographers, like everything, most of what we do is with our eye, right? We use our sight as, we look at light, we look at compositions, we look at all that kind of stuff. But there's other senses we have. So our ears, for one, is a really good indication if your shutter speed's too slow or something's not right. I don't know how many times I've picked my camera up, taken a shot, and it's gone chunk. I'm like, well, that's way too slow. I better look at my settings. So that's an audio cue to say, hey, something's not right with my camera. And the other one's touch, like especially with our Olympus lenses, they have that little autofocus coupling. You can put your hand on the cradle of the lens and you can feel that that's been engaged into manual focus. It's an automatic cue that something's not right. So don't just always think everything's right. Use your ears, your eyes, your touch to make sure your camera's all set up to go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And again, that's just, I get it. People buy new cameras, so you don't expect it just to know it straight away. But just, sit in your backyard and take some. You could be on a flight somewhere, have your camera in your lap, muck around with it. If you're not,
take photos of people in the plane. They'd love that.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't be thrown off.
Well, from 10,000 kilometers above. Cool. What are you typing away there?
I'm just updating some lists and things. Great advice there. So over editing, forgetting your gear, failing to plan, check all your settings. And then number 5 is scan the edges.
Yep.
So when we talk about scanning the edges, Cam, what do we mean?
We get the picture and put it on the scanner and make sure the edges are scanned. Is that right?
Yeah. I think you're close.
Yeah. Or maybe it's about looking at your frame in your camera and making sure you scan the outside of your frame, either through your viewfinder or on the playback when you're taking a shot, and just looking for those distractions that are going to do your head in when you get to the editing suite. So branches, arms, some other photographer's tripod,
power line,
Brendan's head, my head, whatever it might be. Just scan the edges of your frame after you take a shot. I do it religiously. I look back at the playback and all through the viewfinder. I make sure, it all looks pretty good before I press the button. It just saves a bit of heartache and edit later on.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward one, but definitely worth it. So I will list those 5 below in the description as well. So if you want to go back over those, but some good advice there. If you're getting into if you're frustrated a bit with your landscape photography, you might be making one of those mistakes. So have a look over those.
I guarantee you will be. We all do it. It doesn't matter how pro you are. The top pros and the entry level, they all do it in one shape or form or the other. It's just a matter. Sometimes I think it's rushing as well. Like, just take your time with everything. Like, editing's not a race. Getting your gear out of your bag or packing your car, that's not a race. You've got plenty of time to do that. You got plenty of time to plan. You got plenty of time to check your settings, and you got plenty of time to scan your edges. So I always say we're out here capturing time. So let's take our time to do it. Like, let's not rush it. Unless, there's always that moment where something's crazy going off with light, but that's fine. But when you got all this time in the world, don't rush it. It's so disappointing when you drive 3 or 4 hours to get something and you come back and you've stuffed up some one little simple thing or forgotten something, and sort of it's a bit of a downer.
No, I completely agree. And you mentioned while you were talking there that you had something news on your OM3. Would you like
yes,
to share
I
that?
did. Yes, I got rid of it. I got rid of it.
It's gone.
It's gone. So I used it the other day, and it's a lovely camera. But if anyone wants to read my review, go to my website, campbellphotography.com.au. I do pay out a bit. It's got a lot of recycled parts, but it is a lovely camera. The sensor in it, which is in the current OM1 Mark II, is a stunning sensor. It is really, really good. I do like it, but the handling of it just isn't for me. So I reached out to our good mate Mark at DigiDirect today. I said, dude, I've had enough. It's got 2,500 frames on it. How much am I going to bleed? So
what can you do?
he actually is a legend, Mark, as we know. He is happy to give me a credit for pretty much the same price I bought it for.
Okay.
And I'm going to buy the OM1 Mark II with a little bit of a changeover.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that camera, if I could review it in a nutshell here right now after using it for a while, it's a travel camera, street photography camera, probably suited to someone with smaller hands and maybe a younger spirit, for lack of a better word, who wants to look a bit hip and cool. It's a lovely camera, but it's just not for me. The handling of it's a bit tricky for me. So,
yeah.
And one other update, last episode or one I was on, I mentioned I was going to buy a wrap for my lens.
Yeah.
And I did. And I also sent out the link to a couple of people who asked in the comments, but I've done it now. I don't know if it's going to show up here, but I've done it and it's all wrapped. My whole lens is now wrapped in this beautiful.
Very cool.
It's very cool. It's very easy to do. It's a bit like putting stickers on the old thing.
Begs the question on how hard is it to do?
It's not that hard to do. You got to be a bit patient, but it's one of those decals that you can take off a few times and reshape, and so it's actually quite good. It arrived. I bought it from AliExpress, so I was even surprised it rocked up, to be honest. But it was good. It was fairly easy to do. It took me about maybe an hour to put it all together. It was really cool. So if you're looking to wrap, and it got a whole heap of different wraps for the whole lenses. AliExpress had it. I'm sure you can get them anywhere, but they had them on their website. And I reckon it looks really cool. I've never really been a big fan of them, but now I like it. So there you go.
It does look good. I had you may remember a couple of months ago, I sold that very outfit to a customer, the OM1 Mark II.
That's right.
And the big pro lens, the one, what is it, 150 to 400.
That's right.
And he was in today and showing me some shots that he got in Fiji. He went over there with some friends and family, and they're into their surfing and stuff. I think there's the famous break there called Cloud Break or something like that.
Yes, that sounds
but
right.
They went, and some of the photos were incredible, and he was blown away by them, and he kept coming back to the fact that how light it was. He didn't have to carry big heavy gear.
It's phenomenal. On the weekend we went on the way to Cradle Mountain. We crossed over the Forth Valley Lookout. And it was foggy in the river valley. It was perfect. We're there for a Fagus workshop, a fungi and Fagus workshop. We stopped for about an hour taking these photos. And on the photo I've just uploaded there was these yellow-tailed black cockatoos. They were miles away. And I had that big lens with me. So this is an 800mm 4.5 on the OM1 Mark I. These guys were halfway down the river in trees, miles away. And it's such a cool lens. It's very, very cool. And these guys, they're all fighting against each other and having a bit of fun. It was very cool.
With that awesome misty fog background there.
Oh, it was magic. And then I'll show you one more just before we keep going. I'll pack up this
Please
other one. But there was one shot of these two that were fighting and carrying on. The next shot is and they were just having so much fun. And like we just sat on this bridge watching these birds and the fog roll up the river. But yeah, that 150 to 400, it's like I said, it's not cheap, but it's a stunning lens. It really is.
It is.
It's incredible. So, but yeah, that wrap's good. I like it. Highly recommend it.
Very good. Cam, we have beer donations.
Do we? What? Now, I have something to mention.
Yes.
On this section, I've been given some pretty full-on feedback from this section.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to name the person. They're probably already starting to giggle knowing them, but our beer donations apparently, since episode 1 or 2, are not funny. The joke about our top donor is not funny anymore.
Is that name that's just scrolling below us right now?
That one. Yep, that one. That first donation from Mel H.
Yes.
We usually go on about some other things and rename it to a different name. And apparently that dad joke is boring and no longer required. That's it. Okay. So I'll go through the beer donations.
He keeps giving us.
Yep. Shout out to and it wasn't Mel who raised this feedback.
Really?
It was another person, obviously a fan of Mel, obviously not a fan of our jokes. They did fall over a few times, so I'm not sure if they're really all with it on this trip. They did take a couple of tumbles. They fell down a hole. What else did they do on that trip? But yeah, I'm not going to name names because that would be unfair. But you know who you are.
Given the technology at my fingertips, you don't even have to read the beer donations anymore. People can see them for themselves now.
What about the people listening audio?
Well, okay, fine.
Beer donations: Mel H, Susan N, Sharon Thorogood and the Destroyers. I hope I can say that still. Jenny C and Marion H all donated beer. Thank you very much. It's going to a good cause because I can't drink probably for the next couple of weeks. So Brendan's going to lash out.
Oh, well, I don't think I'll be drinking until the Great Ocean Road. Not that we drink on these tours.
I was going to say, what is... Come on the Great Ocean Road and watch us get pissed. That'd be fun.
I'll have a beer on that.
Yes.
Although I have been invited to a poker night this weekend, so that might change.
Oh, Texas Hold'em? Not on Mother's Day Eve. You can't go playing poker on Mother's Day Eve.
Friday night.
All right. Thanks for the invite.
Sure. You'll be fine. You just pop over. No worries.
Yeah, after 2 days after an operation.
We'll play virtual. So Cam, dare I ask what's coming up for you? We all know.
I am getting. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm getting 3 hernias fixed up tomorrow. So, yeah.
Genuinely, good luck. I'm sure it'll all go totally fine. You'll be in good hands down there in Hobart, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, they're used to removing secondary things in Hobart. So, funny. Speaking of funny things,
we're trying to push the subscriber count up, Cam.
Oh, right. Sorry. Cheryl, who helped me out with the macro workshop in Bright, g'day to Cheryl. She sent me a picture from the Launceston airports this morning. It was a gingerbread man at the shop with 2 heads on it. So that's taking their own piss. Yeah,
that's a good marketing tool.
What about you? You're going to plug? You're not going to plug that, are you?
I'm going to. I am. And I know a couple of you listening have already signed up to this, but on the 22nd of June, which is a Sunday, down here in Ocean Grove, I have the great man Glyn Lavender coming back to run his natural light portrait workshop once again. It is hands down one of the most popular workshops that I run at my shop. Glyn is an absolute legend when it comes to portrait work, in particular natural light portrait.
If you're not sure he's a legend, just ask him. If you're not sure if he's a legend, just ask him. He'll tell you.
I think you called yourself a legend earlier in the show. Rewind the tape.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Glyn's workshop. Glyn's workshop will be on Sunday, the 22nd of June. It'll be linked below. $295 for pretty much a full day. It's a bargain, absolute bargain.
His jokes alone are worth that.
That's right. And you will come away as a better portrait photographer. There's just no doubt. Everyone to a person who does that workshop says the same thing, how much they loved it and how much they took out of it. And I've actually got a couple of people returning to do it again. They liked it that much. So again, it'll be linked below. I think that's pretty close to it, mate.
Pretty close. Yeah, I was just going to say we did a little bit of I channeled my inner Glyn Lavender in the forest the other day because one of the customers asked about their flash work generally is just almost that studio lighting effect on the macro. But if we want to balance the ambient light and the flashlight on the fungi, how do we do that? And I went, let me think. And I'm like, what did Glyn say? Did he say this? Did he say that? So we got it working and we got some really nice balanced shots of ambient light and flashlight. But yeah, he's a magic man. We know that he's a legend and definitely do it. If you're in that region.
Can I put my hand up and say I would love to learn more about Flash? I know nothing about Flash.
Well, you should do a Glyn Lavender workshop.
I should. He runs some really cracking Flash workshops as well. But yeah, things like using was it slow sync curtains and stuff like this,
or first and second sync rear curtains and front curtains and
all that kind of stuff. It'd be fascinating.
I'll tell you what, we should also do a quick plug before we go. Adam Edwards, great friend of the show last week, is doing a Light the Land workshop with Dennis Smith, who's the light painting legend from South Australia. Check Adam Edwards' website out. They're doing that'll sell it in 2 seconds, that thing.
How do we get on that one? I think we needed to have a junket and go and do that one. That'd be good fun.
I think we need to take this show on the road. We need to get some town halls going. We need to go around the country. We need to get some town halls going and go around the country.
Wouldn't it be awesome if somehow we could conjure up the Down South Photo Show at the Chincopeck Town Hall?
Why can't we do that?
I know. I'm sure I can know a bloke who knows a bloke who has a key.
I'll tell you where we might take this show on the road to, but we won't be going to Mildura because that's not what we do. No, imagine that we could. I'm sure people listening around Australia, if you want us to come and do a show live in front of your camera club,
yes,
shout out.
Let's make it happen.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
it would be an absolute disaster.
And the great thing is, no one listens this far, so that's never going to happen. Rewind real quick. You were at the Melbourne Camera Club last week.
Yes, I was. I did a talk at the Melbourne.
We haven't mentioned this.
Yeah, we didn't. Sorry, I've been busy. I've had workshops and talks, and
in
between my Bright workshop and the Cradle Mountain Macro workshop, myself and good friend of the show, Cheryl Davis Photography, did a talk in front of the Melbourne Camera Club. Now, I've never spoken in front of them before. Cheryl's never spoken in front of any clubs before, so it was a bit of a burst of the bubble for her. It was great. We had a great turnout, about 40 people. Friend Jeff Weber was there. There was also Russell, who's one of my customers. There was a few guys that we knew that were there, so great to say hello to them. But we did a talk on a bit of what I do, a bit of what Cheryl does, and then a bit of what we're doing in the future with workshops and things like that. Amazing building, a nice old heritage building down in South Melbourne. But I tell you, Cheryl was a bit nervous beforehand. She'd never done it before. Absolute natural. So I can just see that she would be great for some other type of thing that we might do around the place.
No one listens this far. So, that's fine. Yes, eventually.
Eventually. But no, it was a great little night out, and thank you to the Melbourne Camera Club for having us along.
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, Cam, good luck with everything you got coming up.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
This has been episode 162 of the Down South Photo Show. We'll see you for episode 163 next week because he'll be able to, because he'll be laying on a couch. If you got a couch, you can move in behind there and just lay on.
I got a couch just here, actually. I can just...
Oh, perfect. That works.
On the couch with Cam and Bren's.
Oh, I like it. We'll see you next week. Bye for now. Say goodbye, Cameron.
Bye-bye, Cameron.